Working with high eyes. First of all, they're a lot of fun until they're not. So in my experience, working with a high eye as a client is an awful lot of fun until they get beat out on an offer. And then it's like you just dumped them, right? Like you gotta almost pull them off the floor. They fall in love with every house they see. They write up 2 or 3 offers and they get their hearts dashed. And then they're gonna be the first type of client that says, we just need to put the home buying on pause for a little while. And really it's because they're brokenhearted, right? So eyes are wonderful to work with as long as things are going your way. So let me just share with you the best tools and tricks to keep the productive flow going while working with high eyes. So this is what text communication should always look like. I don't know, I'd say 2 out of every 3 text messages should include either exclamation points or emojis. Always, always, always relate back to an interpersonal thing they shared with you. So as I shared with you before, when you're sending an email to a high D, the best way to do it is in the subject heading to say home tours on Thursday, and the actual email should say, we can tour homes at 4 p.m. on Thursday. Does that work with you? If you were to send that same email to a high I, that's a little curt, that's a little transactional. It shows you don't really care. So this is how I would encourage you to do it. In the email, it's got to have at least 3 or 4 sentences in it. And the first sentence to 2 sentences is about their family. Hey, Marjorie, it was great talking to you. I'm actually glad you could bring your nephew with you to look at homes with you. It sounds like he's got a lot of experience and wealth and is going to be supportive to you in this home buying process. I have a tour set up for us at 4 p.m. on Thursday. Does that work? That's it. Tie in something a little interpersonally. Same with text. If you're actually working with a high I client, I would encourage you to text them in between notifications. So again, with a D, you just text when there's something to communicate. With a high I, there's a lot of parts in this transaction where you're going days or weeks without actually communicating. Well, to someone who's buying a home, they're super duper excited. To them, this is a 45-day sales cycle. So they just found a house, they just went mutual, you just had inspected, everything's great. And now there's like a 20-day period between now and the appraisal, where if they don't hear from you kind of frequently, they're gonna feel like it's transactional. And so every 3 to 4 days, just reaching back out to check in on them, maybe not even about the real estate transaction, but about them personally, goes a long way to winning with a high I. How do you actually communicate on the phone? Always, always, always with, hi, Marjorie, is this a good time? I have something to share with you about the transaction. Then you share it with them about the transaction. But giving them the space again to kind of talk, not just communicate, but actually just kind of vent, share a little bit more. They're gonna always bring up the house or what they're at in the process or who they just told they're buying a house. And if they just told someone they're buying a house, that's a great time for you to say, did you let them know about your fabulous real estate agent? Phone conversations with high eyes, I've always planned on spending what would take me 2 minutes on the phone with a D. I always know it's gonna be 7 to 10 minutes with a high I. And that's actually quite fine. I mean, what do you gotta do? There's not much you have to do other than talk to them on the phone in this whole course, this window, and there's not much happening. But I also gotta let you know they're the first ones to feel like when their offer doesn't get accepted, that this home buying process wasn't worth it. When they're the ones that you actually submitted an inspection response with only 1 or 2 items on it, and they're super gung-ho, and they thought, well, of course they would fix it, right? If they were the seller, they would of course do that things. And then the counter response from the other sellers, they're not going to do a thing. They're the ones that feel the most offended and hurt. That isn't it just fair that they would do this? So sometimes you have to kind of play counselor a lot more to high eyes. They're not really the easiest to sell homes to, but they're also sometimes the most fun, and they're also going to be your raving fans. So going the extra mile to make sure you win with high eyes is really important, because they're the ones who are going to be your biggest promoter or your biggest detractor if the sale didn't go well.